Hello! Today I'm going to teach you the basics about trimming your dog's nails at home, along with telling you a little bit about why it's important to trim them and how to introduce trimmers and other methods to your pets. Why we have to cut their toenails. A lot of people think that they can maintain them on their own or when they're doing all their running around, which can be true if your dog lives a very active lifestyle. If you take them on lots of long walks and they get out and about, say like up in the mountains or whatever, where they can run over rocks and stuff like they would if they weren't a domestic dog, that would naturally grind down their nails to probably a manageable point. Maybe they might need some toe maintenance still, but when you have couch potato dogs, like if you don't live like an active lifestyle, you have to maintain them at home or else they can cause health problems. Dogs, obviously, they walk on their feet, they don't have shoes, and their nails, if they get too long, they can act like pressure points, and it can cause their feet to splay, it can cause traction problems, and eventually, if they're too long and left untreated, it can cause problems in the muscles and tendons in their legs, and they can get really hurt that way. It's really uncomfortable too. Imagine trying to walk around like you're on high heels, but they're attached to your toes. So yeah, so you gotta trim them. Now, how do you trim them? There's a variety of different methods. You have things like little clippers, and there are Dremels. There's also something called a scratch pad, which I'll include a picture of. That you can train your dog to scratch their toes themselves, which would kind of imitate, it's like sandpaper, kind of. And then there's also pavement method, which people sometimes use, which is basically taking your dog on long walks on pavement, usually once or twice a day. So the dog's foot. So most people know they have the little toe beans, little pads, and then the nail. Inside of the nail there's a blood vessel that doesn't come all the way to the tip. That is called the quick. And the nail bed is that little raised area around where the nail goes into the paw. You don't want to hit that quick. That quick is obviously, like I said, a blood vessel. If you hit it, it will bleed. There are ways to stop the bleeding. There's like Quick Stop, which is like a septic powder. Then you can also use flour and cornstarch, whatever you have on hand. It's always good to have a little of that close by in case you do hit it on accident when you're trimming nails. It does happen. And however, if the bleeding doesn't stop within 20-30 minutes, then you gotta go to the vet, unfortunately. That is very rare though. I've never had that happen. I've only nicked my dog once when I'm cutting his nails, and it usually stops within like 5 minutes. When you're first introducing your dog to clippers, like I'm going to say the Dremel, so if you've never cut their nails before, nothing, you're both new at it, it can be kind of scary because you're afraid you're going to hurt them. They're scared because it's loud and it feels weird and it tickles their toes. So first you decide what method you're going to use. I'm going to discuss the Dremel. Keep that septic powder, flour, whatever nearby just in case. The first step you're going to do is you're going to hold up the object, let your dog sniff it. Don't turn it on, don't touch them with it, just let them sniff it, let them investigate it. See that it's not too scary. You're going to touch their toes with it. No, just touch it. Let them get used to that sensation. Next, most of the time these have a cap, I don't know where mine is. Next, you're going to turn it on and let them just get used to the sound. They're probably going to freak out a little bit. They might run away. That's okay. Just turn it on, leave it on the floor or something. Let them come investigate. Next, you're going to turn it on and then touch their toes on with it. You're still probably going to have that cap. Don't trim anything. Don't hold anything. Well, you might have to lift up their toes to touch it, but very gentle. Next, you're going to take the cap off. Turn it on, and you're going to trim just the tip of their toenail off. And then let go. And then next. The next step, once they're comfortable with that, once you're Once you both are comfortable with that, you can go for maybe a whole toenail. Obviously, you're going to want to be very careful not to hit that quick. If your dog's toenails are white, you can see the quick, and it's like a pink on the inside. If your dog toenails are black, it's a little more difficult, but you're going to want to watch the tip of the toe, and usually you can see a little black dot appear. Once you see that little black dot, that means it's time to stop. And that little black dot is going to be a little softer too. And after you work up to trimming toes, you'll be able to get in whole toenail sessions. You can do a paw at a time or however you feel comfortable with. But remember, the most important part of the process of introducing them is making it a positive experience, making sure you're giving them treats and pets, and making sure that they are comfortable with the process. You don't want to make them scared of the toenail trimmers. Try not to yell or grab them too tight, or just make them feel comfortable. When you are trimming their toenails, you're going to want to have a firm grasp on the paw. You don't want them to be able to pull out, and if they start pulling, you want to be able to stop the process, give them a break to calm down, de-stress. You want this to be a positive experience. You don't want to have to wrestle them every time you go to grab the trimmers. You don't want them to run and hide. You want it to be positive, make it look something that it might not be the funnest thing in the world, but it's an experience that they can handle. Safety first. Be mindful of your dog's quick and keep that safety powder nearby. And ultimately, your dog's health and safety is your responsibility as an owner, and nail care is a simple yet important part of that process. While it may seem like a hassle to the uninitiated, if you do it correctly, it can be a simple, pain-free process for both you and your dog. While there is the option, in the end of the day, of going to the vet or the groomers for a nail trim, you can easily do it at home yourself. All it takes is some time, trust, and treats.